I've had these pans for a while now, and I haven't really done anything with them, but they're taking up shelf space in my shop, and it's time to do something with them. We're going to be running through the whole shebang here. I'm talking about lye bath, electrolysis, lead testing, seasoning, the works. Now, I have many cast iron pans and I love to cook on them. And the way that I normally restore a cast iron is I put it in the oven on the self clean cycle, which brings it up to, I don't know, 500 degrees or something. And that just burns all the old seasoning off. But as it turns out, the oven in my house here doesn't have a self cleaning setting, which is crazy. So we're going to do lye bath and electrolysis, which I'm new to. Anyway, let's take a look at the pans. These are the two pans that I got at the yard sale. I think I paid $10 for both of them, so $5 each. This one isn't anything special. It's a number 3 3-notch Lodge. I don't have one of these, so this is cool to add to my collection. This thing, I don't know what it is. Maybe some cast iron aficionado can tell me. I think it's either a no-notch Lodge or a BSR, which I think is a Birmingham Stove and Range. It's got some maker's marks on it, and then also it looks like it might have an ARC logo here, but I'm not sure what that says, and we might reveal that once we strip it. But it's cool. It's a number 9. It's got a nice raised number here. Pretty unique. I'm pretty stoked about this one. And then this is the one out of the shop from Arkansas. I think it's a number 8 according to the lid there. Little drip top, which is cool. And it's like a deep skillet, which I have never seen before, but to me that's pretty unique and seems like it'll be a good one to cook on. It is a number 8. So anyway, I don't really know the provenance of these pans, but they're ones that I haven't seen before, so they're kind of rare to me, which is good, and they'll fill some gaps in my collection. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a lye bath. And you basically just need a inert container, like made out of polyethylene or HDPE or something. And we'll use some 100% lye. We'll put water in here, add the lye to the water, and then submerge these pans for a few days. And that will help especially strip the gunk like that. This one is a better candidate for electrolysis because of the surface rust, but just because we're going to do both. And once we get the gunk off of them, we'll lead test them to make sure that Grandpa wasn't, pouring sinkers or making lead shot in these things. And from there, we'll season them up and use them. All right, let's do it. All right, you guys, I got this container. I think this is a 12-gallon container filled up with about 5 gallons of water. And we're going to add this sodium hydroxide or lye to it. Just a word of caution, be careful with this stuff. I mean, you don't have to be afraid of it. It's basically just Drano. But wear protection. It's caustic and it'll burn you. We're going to mix a pound of this in with 5 gallons is the ratio. So that'll be half of this container. And again, water first and then add, not the other way around, because it will make an exothermic reaction that will get hot and melt your container. So yeah, let's add that stuff to the water and then we'll put the pans in and let them sit for a few days. You can actually see it steaming up because it's heating up. Good. All right, you guys, the pans have been sitting for a few days in the lye tank now, and it's time to pull them out and see what they look like. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a 1-to-1 mixture of distilled white vinegar to water in this restaurant tray, and we'll use that to clean the pans up. The weak acid of the vinegar will kind of help to neutralize the base of the lye, and we'll see how these things look. Forgot to mention we'll also use some coarse steel wool on them, and maybe we'll get away with actually not having to use the electrolysis tank if the rust isn't too bad. Here's what everything ended up looking like. That discoloration's from the vinegar. Looks like this one's going to need to sit in the lye a little longer. Maybe the electrolysis will handle that. I need to kind of do a little more research. The lid, pretty good. The deep number 8, pretty good also, with some surfaced rust. A lot of this is flash rusting too. And then the number 9, which still has quite a bit of funk in there, so might let these sit in the lye for another couple days. All right, you guys, these have had 2 more days in the lye, and they are looking pretty good. There's not too much seasoning left on them. On this one, there's a couple specks left, but those are really, really on there. I tried really hard to scrape those off, but they're just not coming, so we're still gonna go ahead and do electrolysis. Get these things really cleaned up, and maybe we'll see if that'll take care of those few remaining little spots. Now, if you haven't seen one of these before, there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to set one of these up. But basically, I've got these 2 chunks of rebar in each corner. They're tied together with a wire. And then I've got this in the middle to hang the cast irons from. What we'll do is we will hook up a battery charger with the positive side on these sacrificial anodes. We'll just hook it up right here so that the load is kind of balanced. And then we'll hook up the negative side to these, and we'll just hang the pans off of these copper wires here, or something like that. All right, you guys, this is what the electrolysis tank looks like with the solution mixed up in it. Now, this solution is approximately 20 gallons of water and about 2 cups of this washing soda. This is sodium carbonate. It's kind of like baking soda, except instead of bicarbonate, it's carbonate. I found this at the hardware store at Ace, and it essentially makes an electrolyte solution. Now all we got to do is rig our pans up in here so that they're not touching the anodes, and hook this battery charger up to it. We're gonna see if this thing will work. This is a 1 amp trickle charger. I think typically you want a little bit higher amperage on these electrolysis tanks. So if that doesn't work, we've always got the ham radio power supply. I guess this goes up to 30 amps, which might be too much. It is adjustable voltage only, so this could be kind of a wild card, which is why we are going to try this trickle charger first. So basically, I'll rig the pans up in here, we'll hook it up, and then bring you guys back in. We can see how it goes. All right, you guys, I ditched the trickle charger. It was switching on and off. It wasn't like a constant power supply. So now I've got the ham radio power supply cooking. It's going at 3 amps now. And just in case you guys are wondering about the leads switching, I had to do some fancy footwork with the leads, which is why they ended up backwards, but still we're rolling with a negative connection on the skillets and a positive connection on the anodes. So we'll just have to let this thing ride for a little bit. After about an hour, this is what it's looking like. Still good progress. 14 volts, 3.5 amps. We'll let it go for a few hours and then pull the pans and see how they look. Hey guys, so it's like 10 p.m. and I decided to pull these pans, and wow, I'm pretty impressed by how clean they got. This is definitely gonna be like my new favorite way to do this. It's pretty amazing. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'm gonna go clean these up and then I'll bring them back in here and we'll lead test them. Here are the pans after cleaning up with barkeepers. So they're looking pretty good. Like I said, a little bit of flash rust, nothing to worry about. We're gonna go ahead and do the lead test now. So to do this, I'm probably gonna just take a damp paper towel, like wipe up any surface rust in the bottom. And then I believe the instructions for these say that you need to stick them in water for a couple seconds, test the surface, and then if it's clean, it comes up orange. If it's got lead, it comes up purple. So pretty simple. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay. And we'll just run. I feel like that's just crap. Because if you test a lead fishing weight, it comes up a different color. Now, to be honest, the one I'm worried the most about is the one that I got off my grandpa's farm, because this was out in the shop. And my mom told me that she seems to remember him frying fish in this, which is a good sign that it wasn't, you know, something for pouring sinkers or shot. But might as well test it. This one seems to be coming up cleaner than the last one. Well, I'm satisfied with that. Again, I feel like that's just residue. That's not actually coming up purple to me. I feel like just for fun, just so I can prove to you guys that that was residue that we were picking up. Like, this is from another project of mine. But let's go ahead and test this. So if you know, you know what this came out of. And that's a pretty unmistakable red color. Okay. So that's how you do a lead test. Real simple. All right, you guys, we're finally on to the last step of this process, which is the actual seasoning of the pans. Currently, I've done a second wash on them, cleaned them up. They're in the oven at 200 degrees, and we're gonna apply a light coat of high smoke point oil and bake it for 1 hour at 450 degrees. That's the formula. I use Crisco. The most important thing is you want to try to wipe as much of the oil out as possible on the first seasoning. Just trust me on this. If you don't wipe it all out, it'll get blotchy and weird. So you almost want to see like no oil at all on the pan. I know it sounds weird, but that's just how you got to do it. And we'll repeat that process 2 or 3 or 4 times, or however many times it takes these things to look good. So with that being said, I think that we're ready to start that process. It'll take a couple hours, but the finished product will be nice. So let's go do it. All right, let's go. That's what they're looking like after the first coat of seasoning. That's what I mean when I say splotchy, so there's probably too much oil on the lip there. It's a little splotchy on the back too. That's okay. All right, you guys, we're officially done seasoning these pans, and they turned out pretty darn good. They'll darken up with time as we use them, but pretty sweet. Now there's only one thing that's left to do, and that's to cook in them. And we're gonna cook some bacon in this number 9. So let's do it. Anyway, I really hope that this video helped somebody out, or somebody got some good information out of it. Yeah, cast iron's a whole process, but it's worthwhile, and those pans will last forever. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. See ya.